Welcome everyone to the top cut of this VGC League Challenge here at second third place in Pico Rivera, California. I am Jesus Coronel. Joining alongside me is Arnie Wolf once again, and we have our first top 8 matchup, and we got the two-turn game winner, Everett Filloon. He'll go up against one of the world's best trainers in North America, Giovanni Costa, for our first top 8 matchup.
And this is going to be a match where there's some really interesting Pokemon. We're going to see Regidrago come back from Everett's side, and we're going to see the Snorlax for Giovanni. This is going to be really cool. You're going to see Everett on the left with that Zamazenta, Chen Pao, Rillaboom, Ogerpon, Hearthflame, Whimsicott, Regidrago. Geo on the right with Iron Hands, Miraidon, Incineroar for Giraffe, Urshifu, Single Strike, and Snorlax.
The Snorlax is an interesting pick because usually you would see Snorlax.
Okay. Just doing a double check here on GeoSheet, but
yeah, I was going to talk about Snorlax being an interesting pick here because historically, it's never been good in restricted formats. It's historically been good in a single restricted, in a non-restricted format, which is usually a regional dex or a national dex.
What I really like, though,
and here's the thing about Snorlax: it has Curse, which is proven to be one of its better moves. And the only reason Snorlax is able to be so good for those two specific formats is because of those 50% berries, which are now moved to 33%, but that doesn't stop people from trying to do curse strategies, and especially because Geo tried it.
And what's really nice about Snorlax is it resists quite a bit of the meta. Zamazenta obviously having a weakness into it, hitting it with Body Press, but it's got Terra Poison, if I'm not mistaken, and so that's going to negate that. Plus, you have Thick Fat, so you dodge Glacial Lances. You are normal type, so you dodge Calyrex Shadow. There's very few restricteds really can hit hard into it, and then you're able to just get your curses up after Trick Room set. Which is interesting, because Geo's team, despite having a Choice Scarf Miraidon, is very slow.
And here comes Urshifu, and Incineroar is the lead here for Geo. It's going to be, oh boy, it's got Regidrago as the lead, but there is a problem with this lead, and that's Fake Out on the Incineroar.
Yeah, you know, you can obviously Fake Out.
No, exactly. No, wait, yeah, Regidrago, but...
Yeah, I kind of like this lead for Everett, because you can free Moonblast into the Urshifu slot, and that's going to break the Focus Sash there. Then you can go for Tailwind, Dragon Energy. If that happens, you can go for Tailwind and Dragon Pulse or Earth Power. I feel like Everett's got a lot of flexibility right now.
Well, flexibility is not going to be in the Regidrago's name here, as it's going to switch out from Everett's side into that Zamazenta to hopefully cover for that Urshifu, more than likely.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid play there. This Incineroar does have Will-O-Wisp, though, so you got to watch out for that.
Fake Out into that slot, so thanks to Dauntless Shields into the very middle damage. Here comes Whimsicott's Moonblast. It's going to put the Urshifu down to his Focus Sash, thanks to the quad weakness to that Fairy typing. What does the Urshifu do here? Do you go for the Wicked Blow? Do you go for Close Combat? You go Wicked Blow. Okay, yeah, double target into the Regidrago. Understandable. Have a nice day.
Good switch there from Everett. And now this Zamazenta is in a very fun position. You kind of force this Incineroar to Terra Ghost right away. Otherwise, it's going to get hit with a Body Press that will most likely get rid of it. You have the Moonblast obviously putting pressure on the Urshifu, but that is the obvious play, and Everett is not an obvious player. And that, I think, is going to really skew things here. I wouldn't even be surprised to see a Tailwind plus Body Press into the Incineroar slot, just to ensure that if one of your two goes down, you have speed control now going.
Yeah, so as long as you get the speed control up and running, you are able to at least outrun a lot of Geo's Pokemon. The issue just becomes how much speed can you take before Farigiraf comes in and gets a free Trick Room up. But from the looks of Everett's team, I don't know if Farigiraf's going to have a free chance to go for that Trick Room, depending on how much offense Everett is able to provide here. And we're going to see a Terra come out from Geo.
I'm assuming that's Terra Ghost. I would be surprised if it's not.
Yeah. The Ghost Terra on the Incineroar. Afraid of that Body Press.
That's a little bit annoying. It also may be a clue that the Snorlax is not in the back, because you do not want to Terra into that. The Detect is very smart. I think we can you can kind of rule out Snorlax being in play here. This Body Press obviously not going to do anything into the Incineroar slot, and now it has a chance to go for a Will-O-Wisp. That being said, it's not a terrible slot for Everett because you it's going to Parting Shot instead, which is not going to neutralize Body Press. But it's not a terrible slot for Everett because you did get your you have potential to Tailwind and go in back into Regidrago. You still have that flexibility that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, and now the Parting Shot going to switch out the Incineroar away. The Parting Shot's only going to be weakening the Heavy Slam from the Zamazenta, and we're going to see the big Farigiraf come into play now for Geo, and we're going to be... I'm actually going to be interested to see how much damage Farigiraf takes from this potential double up, because, again, if Shuriken goes up here, Everett, I mean, not necessarily in the worst spot, because, like, you only have to deal with one turn table, you got to figure out, but it gives Farigiraf a lot of breathing room.
I'm surprised to stop for a drop inside, actually. I think this, obviously, this Urshifu, I think, is going to switch. because it is kind of bait for either one of Everett's Pokemon. But the Giraffe, I think, because we know it's Throat Spray, it's more offensive. It's also got Protect on it. You could play around with that. Yeah, I'm not surprised on the switch there, but is this Giraffe going to attack or just go for a Trick Room?
Well, for now, we're going to be able to see this Incineroar switch into play against this Urshifu out of the playing field. Because another Intimidate on the both points got Zamazenta. Regraph is going to take a body press, and it's going to take a whole lot of damage here. I think Moonblast might know it went after the Urshifu slot, unfortunately. Because Regraph goes for the Trick Room, and now Everett has to deal with one turn to get out of the Tailwind.
I feel like that's still a pretty good spot. You can go for a Light Screen on Whimsicott, which is really not bad at all for a Giraffe in play, and with potential for Miraidon in the back. Could be Iron Hands, could be Snorlax. We really don't know. I assume it's not Snorlax with Zamazenta on the field, and the Terra being active for Incineroar. But yeah, I think it's not even a bad spot for Zamazenta still. You can outrun your Tailwind, get a Light Screen going. I mean, you do have to watch out for this Terra Ghost Incineroar, but overall, still nice spot for Everett. Yeah,
still a nice spot, and unfortunately, that's not a nice spot for Whimsicott, as the Rillaboom is going to come in its place. Still susceptible to a Fire-type attack should the Incineroar have it. It does have it, it has Flare Blitz, but it's going to be able to threaten us out with a Fire-type attack. Farigha going to protect and make sure that he doesn't go down to a Moonblast or to a Body Press from the Zamazenta. Incineroar going to Will-O-Wisp and miss a Slark. It's going to be the Zamazenta that dodges.
Oh, that may be clutch. That may be clutch. Yeah, that's really nice, actually, if you're Everett. You really did not want to get burned. This Rillaboom's not in a great spot, because you do have Incineroar, Flare Blitz, and Will-O-Wisp, but this Zamazenta, now I think because of that, you don't have to really worry. You can pretty safely switch it, I think, maybe into Whimsicott, or you can even Regidraco, but I think Whimsicott's a little better. Kind of preserve your Zamazenta, or you could just protect this turn to go into something else. Especially that way you can put more pressure on. Despite being slower, you still at least can have Regidraco there, so you could go for a Will-O-Wisp, but then you're going to get Dragon Energied. Or you could try and knock out Regidraco, but then you're going to get Body Pressed. And so I think, again, it's not terrible for Everett, though Geo now has the upper hand.
Yeah, Geo definitely has a better bit of positioning. That Will-O-Wisp miss actually comes at a pretty unfortunate time, because if the Will-O-Wisp landed on the Zamazenta, it would have been a pretty easy slot to go for the Will-O-Wisp onto the Rillaboom out of the very next point, and that would have left both Pokemon in a very crippling position as they were both physical attackers. Hyper Voice does a decent amount of damage to both of these Pokemon, does crit the Rillaboom, and it activates the Throat Spray onto the Farigha here. Flare Blitz comes out. Will does knock out the Rillaboom. It will.
That's an interesting call. I think it's okay still. You want this Incineroar obviously is doing damage to itself, which is nice considering you can't hit it with Body Press. But the main issue right now, I'd say, if you are ever, is just stalling out this Trick Room now. I mean, obviously Miraidon could come out in the back, but this Urshifu is not going to be able to. Its focus action is probably slower than Regidraco. You can hit it with a Dragon Pulse here and safely kind of effectively position yourself to have Geo send the Miraidon out and then get rid of it while Trick Room's still active.
Okay, we see both Pokemon come into play in front of their fallen foes. It's going to be the Urshifu single strike coming in for Regraph on Geo's side. For the fallen Rillaboom, it's going to be Regidraco for Everett. Oh, okay, it's a big turn coming out from Everett. Depends on whether or not this Regidraco underspeeds this Urshifu.
I think it's the play, though. I think regardless, you're good. The worst case scenario here is that you get knocked off, which is kind of useful actually in this case, or Parting Shot. If this is the Miraidon, then Everett is in very good shape. Half of me believes it's the Iron Hands though.
Yeah, we're gonna have to find out what this last Pokemon for Geo is. If it's a Miraidon, it's gonna go down to a Dragon Energy more than likely. If it's Iron Hand, it is Iron Hand. So no Miraidon this game, interestingly enough. But Iron Hands with that Assault Vest should be able to take both of these hits fine. Versus it's a Dragon Energy and -1 special attack with the Choice Specs and the Dragon's Maw ability. Takes half. How much does his Body Press do to that slot? Because you doubled into a Ghost type, thinking it was gonna switch out. Not enough!
Whoa. I'm actually still impressed with that. That was a really good play. Obviously, this Regidraco is now a threat. I do think you're going to probably double target it if you're Geo, because you want to see that Zamazenta protect, or at least have some sort of way to dodge Drain Punches from Iron Hands. You do have Terra Dragon, which will help, but then you no longer resist the hits from this Urshifu, and I think that's probably more important. So I wouldn't be surprised if we just see a Body Press going on to one slot while Dragon Energy continues to come out. They're in the red, so like, even Heavy Slam, Zamazenta doesn't need to Body Press anymore, because the two Pokemon that would be hit with Body Press are in the red, and then Incineroar is a Ghost type, so I think you're safe to just keep going for Heavy Slam. You don't even really need to keep Zamazenta in, but I think that the Dragon Energy plus Heavy Slam is a better bet.
Well, we're going to see what's going to happen in this turn. And mind you, Heavy Slam at -2 attack probably isn't going to be doing a whole lot of damage to a lot of Geo's Pokemon. I mean, especially in Incineroar specifically.
Yeah.
And we get the Whimsicott floating on the screen.
Hey.
And a Sucker Punch unfortunately fails to catch the Regidrago. Here comes a Wild Charge into the Whimsicott. Not doing a whole lot of damage here. Will it go down to its own recoil? No, it will not, because its HP is really high. Body Press into the Urshifu. Down it goes.
That's actually quite good. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Trick Room expires at the end of the next turn. Not this turn, but the next turn. And what that means is if you are Everett, you click the fun Tailwind button and protect your Zama. And I think after that, it's going to take a lot. Oh, it's the end of this turn. Okay, well, you still click the fun Tailwind. Actually, you don't even need to click the fun Tailwind button. You just click the Moonblast button and switch your Zamazenta out to get rid of those
-3 attack now.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then at that point, you just click Dragon Pulse for the win. So I think this is Everett's game to lose right now, but it's Pokemon. You never know. Giovanni's a great player, may have some kind of tech in the back we don't know, or in mind, because these are Geo's last 2 Pokemon, but maybe there's something there we don't know.
Yeah, perhaps something. Nope, there is nothing we don't need to know. Geo's going to throw ahead and throw in the towel for game number 1. Everett going to win game number 1 off the back of that Regidrago and that Zamazenta.
What a fun matchup.
I actually want to bring this up as well, because during the LA Regionals, Grant Weldon popularized Zacian plus Regidrago. Now Everett is popularizing Zamazenta plus Regidrago.
I honestly think Regidrago is one of the best Pokemon in the format right now. Just in general, it's so... It's one of those Pokemon that if you lead it and your opponent isn't prepped for it, especially with Whimsicott and Tailwind, you just win turn 1 and have fun. Like, it is such a hard Pokemon to counter for so many different teams, including Geo's. Obviously, the Trick Room is the best bet, but then your free draft's going to go down to it. It's not bulky enough to take it. So
yeah, and also I want to point out, because like the way you deal with Regidrago is mostly Fairy types or a good amount of resistance, like Steel types. Geo doesn't have a lot of them, or if at all. No, he actually doesn't have any resistances or immunities.
The only thing you can really do if you're Geo is hope that your Miraidon's Draco Meteor is faster after Tailwind, which I don't know, because it is Choice Scarf, but Regidrago, I believe, if it has some speed investment, will still outspeed. And so it's not great. Iron Hand's obviously really good into it as well, but then you have to deal with the Moonblasts incoming from Whimsicott as well. So it's just a tough matchup for Geo, and I think, again, I personally think the best bet is to try the Snorlax. Go in, get your curse going, maybe start with Incineroar, and for a draft, set up your Trick Room, Parting Shot onto Snorlax, and then tear it to Poison so Zamazenta doesn't do much. I think that's probably Geo's best strategy, but then you're playing to Trick Room, and that's a lot of turns just to set up. But I don't know, I feel like that's probably the safest bet.
Yeah, it's just a very tough situation for Geo to deal with these Zamazenta plus Regidrago, because your best means of speed control isn't really Tailwind. It's just Trick Room, and you saw that Everett was just not afraid to play under the Trick Room. And I also just noticed the fact that during that game 1 he never set up Tailwind, so that's my apologies for claiming that was even a thing. But now we're gonna go into game number 2 after my apologies into game number 2. Okay, I'm repeating lines. Oh my goodness, what am I doing?
It's been a long day. It's all good.
Okay, Miraidon plus Urshifu for Geo, and for Everett, it's going to be Zamazenta and Whimsicott.
I kind of want to see a double up on this Urshifu. I feel like that's a good play. I feel like Miraidon's not actually in the spot it wants to be in. Obviously, it's very powerful. However, it's Choice Scarf, so Zamazenta's going to be able to take a hit. You can also Tailwind it and just get a Body Press off it right away, but I think that's the obvious play. No one would be surprised if Geo actually swaps out into something like Incineroar for a draft and lets Urshifu do its thing. But it's also, Urshifu's in a bad spot right now just against 2 things that resist Dark types, so wouldn't be surprised to see that switch out. But then again, Body Press Moonblast is a good spot for it.
Whoa! That's interesting if Everett's gonna lock that in, because yeah, we lock it into Terra Dragon from the Zamazenta.
A little worried about the Miraidon, I see that. But there's a good chance that this thing could have clicked Draco Meteor or Dazzling Gleam.
That was already no options for the Miraidon, and I wonder if it's really truly worried about that Electro Drift from that Miraidon, because even though it's not choice specs, it's still going to do a lot of damage for the Hadron engine plus the electric terrain. Urshifu going to detect, Light Screen comes out from the Whimsicott. It's Volt Switch, it is not into the Zamazenta, so a little bit of an early tear. I think it's going to be targeted towards the Zamazenta. Miraidon gets a free pivot, and now Zamazenta, what did it do here? I mean, it did not protect. It had to go for a Body Press here. Iron Hands comes in from this Giovanni Volt Switch. It's going to activate the Quark Drive thanks to the electric terrain. Going to multiply his attack a bit high. Body press into the Detect.
Not great play for Everett, but not bad play. Not bad position still. You are going to outspeed the Urshifu. That's good. You can get your Moonblast going, but that's about it for Whimsicott. It is gone after this. You don't really need Tailwinder, and you did say Light Screen, so that's really good, but I think that, and then, it doesn't really matter. If it's Miraidon's going to take a good chunk. If it's Friddraft, it goes down to Body Press.
Is it Incineroar?
That is the worst case scenario for you. if you're Everett, you're like, oh, that's not what I wanted to see. Good news though, besides the Miraidon, your Regidrago does outspeed everything else most likely on the team. So
Yeah, unfortunately, Body Press is not a problem for this Incineroar. As Fake Out comes out into the Zamazenta. Moonblast goes into the Incineroar, not doing a whole lot of damage there. And I want to point this out. This is a Covert Cloak Incineroar.
I guess it's solid to avoid other fake outs. I would be very surprised if we don't see a double up on Iron Hands here. I think a Moonblast onto the Iron Hands plus a Body Press onto the Iron Hands is pretty good. Because it doesn't really matter what's coming out. That side's going to get hit with a heavy chunk of damage. And Iron Hands can't really do anything right now that's too threatening. I think its best bet is to go for that, I don't know. Really, there's not much. I'd say Drain Punch onto Zamazenta, but that Terra Dragon actually removing the fighting weaknesses is quite useful for Iron Hands.
Oh, speaking of Dragon, here goes Regidrago from Everett to swap out for the Whimsicott here. Geo's going to Terra. There's two options available. It's obviously goes for the Honey Incineroar for the Body Press, and that's exactly what's going to be happening.
There's some loud noises going on, I believe, next door, but it's not distracting from the action. Yeah, that Body Press definitely really good into the Iron Hands. Not 50%. Will-O-Wisp on Zamazenta, I think that's okay. Zamazenta really isn't going to be... It did its job by chipping the Iron Hands, and really now it's just a matter of who does Iron Hands hit.
Drain Punch. Oh, actually reads the switch on the Regidrago. It's going to go and hit a Fairy type with that Drain Punch, and instead catches the switch on the Regidrago. And because Regidrago has such a high HP stat, Iron Hands recovers a lot of HP.
I think, honestly, for Everett, you're like, okay, Geo, I see what you did. I'm going to Draco Meteor your Iron Hands and let your Incineroar switch out, because I feel like that's probably what's going to happen. I think the instant...
It might... Oh, wait, never mind. I'm reading the team sheet wrong. I thought there was knockoff. There is unfortunately no knockoff.
So yeah, then you just click Draco Meteor into the Iron Hand slot, gets rid of it. If it is... I would probably Body Press it just as well, just in case it does switch into... yeah, exactly. Just in case it switches into anything else. Yeah, but it's not going to. It's still going to go down to a Draco Meteor, and that's really useful for you.
Will it though? Choice Specs boosting Draco Meteor. It isn't enough to knock out the Iron Hands. Fruit out Assault Vest at a high HP stat that it carries. And now this Incineroar has a choice to make. Do you go for Flare Blitz to try to knock out something, or do you go for the Parting Shot and it goes into the Regidrago to weaken its attack by another stage? So it's now a -3 special attack.
I want to point one more thing out too. Everett brought in Chen Pao. Chen Pao has Throat Chop. That's a one-hit KO on Incineroar at this point, without the Intimidate. And I believe Incineroar has been chipped to about 60%, so good either way. I think you're kind of relying on that now, is just your last two Pokemon to go ahead and just sweep here. Miraidon, it's tricky, but it also can't really hit either one of these two well. I mean, you could go...
Urshifu comes in.
Yeah, that's the play. I think, honestly, you just keep double targeting the Urshifu. That's the scariest Pokemon if you're Geo, because it's going to take some heavy.
Okay, this Regidrago's trying to be ambitious. I mean, that's it.
Ambitious.
I mean, that's if Everett wants to go ahead and lock in that move, because we're looking at the screen right now. It's like, oh, we're trying to get like, oh, I think, okay. So it's like, if you go for the Dragon Meteor on the Miraidon, it probably knocks out a -3 with the Choice Specs and Dragon's Maw. And it's just like, if that gets KO'd, then it leaves a bit of a easier time for this Chen Pao to, freely...
Double targeting on the Urshifu.
Oh, here's Draco Meteor from Miraidon into the Zamazenta. Easily is going to knock it out with the Hadron engine and the...
Double knockout here, I think, incoming. I believe it's a double knockout. We'll see if it's a double knockout.
We'll have to find out here and see what this Urshifu does here. Urshifu is indeed faster. Will knock out the Regidrago with a Wicked Blow, and it is down to a Whimsicott and an unknown Pokemon, which you think is Chen Pao.
I believe I saw it was the Chen Pao. If it is a Chen Pao, that's actually a good spot. Oh, losing the light screen is not really going to matter all that much.
Oh, Electric Terrain's gone, and it is Chen Pao in the back.
This is actually like a very obvious switch in for Geo here, but because Chen Pao's in here, you do risk that Throat Chop incoming, and Whimsicott having possibility of Tailwind is really nice as well. It's Urshifu, because it's got the Focus Sash, is really concerning, and so I think your ideal play is to just double target the Urshifu again. maybe Icicle Crash onto the left slot, maybe Throat Chop it. But I think if you could just break this Urshifu's Folk Sash down with Moonblast, that's what you really want to do.
Because I think you have to throat chop the Miraidon slot, because I think it's more likely it switches out to reset that Draco Meteor special attack
It
drop
could.
and to reset the Hadron Engine.
I think you're okay if you could either Tailwind and do that, or Tailwind or Moonblast and do that. But yeah, I think even an Icicle Crash is okay. It won't one-hit KO the Incineroar from its health. Maybe it will. It's Chun-Pao. Never underestimate its power. But it is going to at least chip it very well. Yeah, that switch was obvious.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, it's like a lot of us were assuming that Miraidon was going to switch out for not only to reset his Draco Meteor boost drops, but to also reset the Hadron Engine.
Yeah. The question is, does this Urshifu detect?
And the
it
question
does.
is, yes. So if Everett reads this, this is a big damage play into the Incineroar. As we see Tailwind come out from this Whimsicott to give the speed boost. Nope, it's Icicle Crash into the Urshifu. Oh no, it misses the Incineroar!
Oh, not fun, not fun. Free Moonblast, that's good. Bad news, you're basically 1-on-3. That's not fun. And it is... Yeah, the Chun-Pao Protect has to happen because of the fake out pressure. And there is the fake out there. You know what? I think if you're Geo, you close combat, right? You have to close combat into the Chun-Pao slot. There's nothing else you can do there.
Okay, there we go. I mean, yes, close combat is probably going to break through that protect, for that unseen fist ability for the Urshifu, as it is surviving on that focus sash. Well, that's probably that quad weakness, and yet there was cover for the fake out plus close combat. At the very least, the protect was there to make sure its focus sash still remained intact. But Sucker Punch is now an option.
Yeah, that miss from the Icicle Crash was so detrimental because you hit that, you could have knocked it out with a Moonblast and then Sucker Punch the Urshifu. At this point, I don't think Moonblast is going to KO. However, oh my gosh, Everett, you can Encore the Incineroar and Sucker Punch the Urshifu. Everett, that's the play. That's the play.
Let's try not to get names in here.
I think that's the play.
I mean, if you Encore the Incineroar, if it switches out, then that's a play that could be covered.
Oh!
Sucker Punch, unfortunately, did not work against that Incineroar. Sucker Punch also going to fail, just because another Sucker Punch failed. What did the Whimsicott do here? Moonblast is in the Incineroar. Did it go for a Will-O-Wisp, or did it go for a Parting Shot? It goes for a Parting Shot onto the Whimsicott.
This game is wild. I thought for sure because Urshifu lost his Dark type, the Encore would be the play. I was like, that's a free switch in right there, and you can get rid of both. And I would have worked, but it did not happen, unfortunately. Geo, really nice play there with that Sucker Punch. You kind of have to at this point. You can't. But the good news is now, if you're Geo, this is a really good spot for you because you now know, okay, they're going to Sucker Punch me. Not going to happen. I'm going to just stall out this Tailwind. I'll take it. I'll just click Dazzling Gleam and win. I don't think there's anything else that Everett can do. I think that Encore was the one play Everett needed to make, but because that didn't happen, this Miraidon's in and ready to Dazzling Gleam its way to victory.
Here comes the protect from this Chun-Pao. It won't be able to protect itself from the Urshifu. It will protect itself from the Sucker Punch. It happened again. So Chun-Pao is effectively in a pin in this situation. Moonblast at -1 special attack on this Miraidon. Oh my god, that's doing really no damage.
Yeah.
Here comes Dazzling Gleam with a Hadron Engine boost from this Miraidon. How much damage will this be doing? Not enough, but a second one will do it, and its Tailwind's gone.
This is Geo's match to lose here. That Dazzling Gleam was such a play. I mean, that was the thing. The Parting Shot was a really good play. I think either way, the Encore would have definitely been good. I think maybe a hard switch would have been a little better on Geo's side, just so to ensure you get out. Because once this Miraidon came back out, it was over. Whimsicott at I believe it's -1, would not do enough. Even with neutral, wouldn't even do half. And then at that point, Chun-Pao's down to Focus Sash. So this is either way going into Miraidon, and that's how I think maybe what Geo was thinking is like, you know, if I lose these two, it's fine. Doesn't matter to me. If my Incineroar gets Encore, doesn't matter to me. I've got Dazzling Gleam, and I can win with that at the end of the day. And I think that was exactly the play.
Sucker Punch does not get a critical hit, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Dazzling Gleam comes out. We got a game 3.
You know, I commend Geo there a lot because saving that Miraidon with that Dazzling Gleam in the back it's something that not a lot of people do. A lot of people bring out Miraidon right away and are like, I'm going to go full force into this. And Geo did to an extent, switching out, but a lot of people want to try and bring the Miraidon as soon as they can back in. Geo was like, I'm going to play the long game. All right, I'm going to play the Trick Room game. I know you're going to try and stall it. I got Will-O-Wisp. I got for a draft. I got Iron Hands. I'm good. I'll play the Trick Room game. And it works. You know, I think it with Geo looking at 5 or 6 that Geo could bring in. I don't think we're seeing any changes. Terra Ghost Incineroar is really good. Miraidon's really good. Iron Hands is really good. And Urshifu is really good.
I also need to go back to that game 2 where Everett was thinking turn 1 Miraidon was going to hard target Zamazenta with Electro Drift, and it just did not happen. I mean, like, what's the risk of Electro Drift knocking out Zamazenta there? Because you have a Electro Terrain boost, you have a Hadron Engine boost. Notably no Choice Scarf, notably no Terra from the Miraidon.
I think you take it. I believe it's, if I'm not mistaken, Zamazenta's got a lot of Zamazenta's got quite a bit of bulk in it. It's kind of similar to Calyrex Ice, where if it's not Terra Choice specs, you live it. At least that's my thought. I wouldn't actually be surprised to see the same lead come out from Everett, but I still like this Regidrago lead with Whimsicott. Can't really do much. You could set your Tailwind as Dragon Energy until you win. It's a little tricky though, because Fake Out cycling between Iron Hands and Incineroar is tough for that lead, but if you can position yourself right, which Everett's really good at, I think you're good to just get going with it.
All right, repeat leads from Giovanni with the Urshifu plus Miraidon. Oh, Rillaboom Regidrago from Everett, so there's going to be a Grassy Terrain and Fake Out pressure.
I'm not a fan of that lead for Everett. It's too slow, I think. This Miraidon's really safe to just Volt Switch out into something. And if not, I mean, I think the plan is to just double up on Miraidon, fake it out, go for a Draco Meteor, but that leaves Urshifu a free Wicked Blow, and I don't think you want to put yourself in that position. So I'm not a huge fan of this lead for Everett. I think Geo's in a very safe spot to either switch the Miraidon out or just get a free Wicked Blow. Either way, it's a good position.
All right, well, Regidrago did not like the situation at all. Gonna switch out and get out of here for Whimsicott. So if it is a Wicked Blow coming that slot, that's once again it's floating in the air. If it's Wicked Blow, it's gonna be resistant at the various. Oh, Geo going for a Terra.
Is it electric or dark? It is electric. So I believe it's gonna probably be a Volt Switch. Wanted to dodge any potential Dragon attacks. I commend that. I still think it's a good play for Geo because you're going to do a lot of damage regardless.
Draco!
Or just straight up Draco Meteor instead.
And it tried to go after the Regidrago, and unfortunately it does not affect the Fairy type. Okay, doubles the slot. In that case, Whimsicott's not taking a whole lot of damage here from that Wicked Blow. And here comes U-turn into this Miraidon, and you actually get this free switch out, and now you're actually in a position where you can actually go for the Dragon Energy.
Yeah. That's really nice. Zama's good too.
That's definitely 100% greed there from Geo going for the Draco Meteor.
Yeah.
And, ooh, never mind, Zamazenta comes in here for the defense boost.
Safer to start with Zamazenta. It forces the Miraidon to switch. You get a free, I believe, body press onto whatever is on that right side. You can partner it with a Moonblast, or you can partner it with the Tailwind. Either way, you definitely want to body press the Miraidon, because this Urshifu is in a spot where it doesn't want a Wicked Blow. Could close combat this Zamazenta, though. And I wouldn't be surprised if that happens.
But it's a +1 defense, so how much damage is that really going to be taking? Here comes Iron Hands to deal with this body press, or at least whatever the slot comes in here. The tech comes out, so Urshifu's going to maintain his Focus Sash. Whimsicott goes, okay, does not go for Tailwind here. Body presses almost had the Iron Hands. Moonblast doubles the slot. It is not enough to knock out the Iron Hands, but a body press will knock out the next turn, but there is a fear Fake Out.
You know what's interesting? I believe Moonblast is, it's not quite in range. It's not quite in range. I think you protect the Zamazenta and you go for a Moonblast onto the Urshifu slot this turn. I don't think right now you really want to get hit with a Fake Out or Drain Punch. I personally think Iron Hand's going to Drain Punch. I mean, that's fine. Yeah, you want to preserve your Focus Sash to target.
Okay, we're getting the Hadron Engine back.
That is dangerous. That is very dangerous.
You want to talk about terrain battles? How do we have 3 terrain battles this generation?
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. With Miraidon, it just added a whole new layer, and this attack boost on Iron Hands is really concerning.
Oh, Fake Out. Well, it's not going to be doing a whole lot of damage because +1 defense there on the Zamazenta. Critical hit on the Fake Out.
Just for, you know, for fun.
Moonblast into the Urshifu slot, so Miraidon's going to take it a bit more comfortably. I think that okay, I think this Whimsicott not that good special attack investment, or this Miraidon's pretty bulky.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. It is Terra Electric, but still, it did a very little amount of damage. Now the question becomes this. Is the Miraidon going to hit the Zamazenta with Electric, or is it going to go for a Draco Meteor expecting the Terra Dragon? The question is very interesting. I personally think you're fine to just take the Electro Drift and body press into the hand slot. I think that you don't go down to an Electro Drift and you're able to set up Tailwind. And after that, you just have fun if you're Everett. Geo, though, if Geo's able to read that play and go for the possible double up onto the Zamazenta slot, or actually, I think it's best to get rid of the Whimsicott slot, then it may be a different story.
They're going to Tailwind from Whimsicott to allow these Zamazenta to be faster than the Miraidon potentially with that Choice Scarf intact. It is faster thanks to that Tailwind. It is not enough to knock out the Miraidon. Here comes the Volt Switch, which is Hadron Engine and Terra boosted as well as with the terrain. Not enough to knock out the Whimsicott either.
That did so much on the Whimsicott. It was insane, but it wasn't enough. And the nice thing, I mean, I'm assuming, here's the interesting thing, this Incineroar no longer can go Terra Ghost. That's very concerning if you're Geo. But it can put Fake Out pressure on and stall Tailwind terms, which is really good. Get rid of this Whimsicott right now.
Urshifu goes back in.
That's Urshifu. I think that's better. I don't think you want to, don't bring the Incineroar out yet.
And here comes close combat with the attack booster. Not enough with that plus from defense, and now Iron Hand's defense has gotten weaker.
Geo, I think that was the best possible play Geo could have made. Absolutely. You now put yourself in Everett in a spot where it's who do you body press. You can get rid of the hands. You can also get rid of the Moonblast as well. But now this Urshifu and double fighting coverage on Geo's side is very concerning to your Zamazenta. And the Sucker Punches are not fun, especially because with Regidrago in the back, it's going to be banking on Dragon Energy for most of the game now. So if you could stall out Tailwind turns and then also have that Sucker Punch pressure, you might be able to just get what you need done with these two alone, and then you have instant and Miraidon.
Sucker Punch into the Whimsicott. It is enough to the knockout, so no more Moonblast, no more Tailwind pressure. So at least come back to fight Everett in the back. Zamazenta goes for the body press, and he's going to knock out the Iron Hands. Urshifu's still hanging on to that Focus Sash.
I honestly think that the hitting the Urshifu was a little bit of a better slot. You would have lost both of them, but then you would have had Rillaboom and Regidrago. That's a good combo in general. I think Regidrago has to... I would say Regidrago has to come in, but I don't know. I feel like Rillaboom's actually really good into this combo because you are slower than the Miraidon, so you're going to get your terrain back up, and I think actually just getting rid of Hadron Engine is going to be very important. Getting Grassy Glide into the Miraidon slot is very crucial.
And there's the Incineroar, the last Pokemon Geo has for this game number 3 here. Regidrago comes in from Everett, but there is Fake Out pressure as well as Wicked Blow pressure. So it's just like, there's pros and cons to both things that Geo can fake out. If you fake out the Zamazenta, you're likely risking a fake out, body press onto the if you fake out the Zamazenta, you risk Dragon Energy. If you fake out the Regidrago, you risk Body Press.
Yeah, I think this is a brutal match. I think what you do is you fake out and Wicked Blow on the Regidrago. I think you just want to really get rid of the Regidrago more. And if you're thinking about what Everett's going to do, Everett's like, oh, I want to chip the sash of the Urshifu.
All right, fake out only doing 5 total damage to the Zamazenta here. Sucker Punch actually coming out. It's not going to do half damage, meaning... I think Dragon Energy is going to be around like 90 power from this Choice Specs boosted, Dragon Smile boosted. It gets the Focus Sash drop onto the Urshifu at the very least, but I think that might have been the last turn of Tailwind.
I think that this...
No, it's not! There's still one turn left of Tailwind.
Oh gosh, I think if you body press Incineroar and Dragon Energy, you're in really good shape.
And I think Sucker Punch needs a critical hit to knock out the Regidrago, or you do what Everett did there and just switch it out.
That was very smart. I mean, here's the thing, you either lose Miraidon or you lose Incineroar. Or, if you're Geo, you hope that Sucker Punch one-hit K or takes the Zamazenta down. Yeah, pretty much. I don't think Zamazenta is going to go down to a Sucker Punch. You could just sacrifice the Incineroar for a late game, but I don't know if that's necessarily the right play, especially because this Rillaboom is in the back and it's got Terrafire, so you've got... If you're going to go for Dazzling Gleam, it's not going to work out. If you're going to go for Electro Drift, it's not going to work out. So this is a really good position for Everett.
All right, here comes Rillaboom on the switch in on this Regidrago. So this is a pretty pivotal turn here. Body Press wasn't the Incineroar, so no more Intimidate, no more Fake Out for the rest of the game. And now it just comes down to what the Urshifu did, which importantly was not Sucker Punch. Is it Wicked Blow? Okay, it's called Combat to the Zamazenta. It's now a 2-on-2.
Whoa, this isn't... It's not great, but it's not bad. I think...
And more importantly, that was the last turn of Tailwind, so Miraidon's Choice Scarf's not going to come in handy.
Oh, I see Geo's win con, though. I do see a win con for Geo, and it's one major thing. Hadron Engine. It's coming back. This Miraidon is going to bring back the Electric Terrain. Grassy Glide, no longer an issue, so you're going to be able to get another hit with this Urshifu.
Not if you Fake Out.
You have to detect this turn. Miraidon, I think...
Oh, wait a minute, hold on! I think you can Fake Out the Miraidon, actually! He has no means to protect!
Yeah. Yeah, that's not enough damage to survive a Fake Out, is it? I think Everett is in a really good spot.
Well, Miraidon's like around 2 to 3 HP!
There's no way it takes a fake out. There's no way it takes a fake out.
Yeah, there goes on the Miraidon. Down goes the Miraidon. There goes the Terra. And now this Urshifu needs a prayer to land this Wicked Blow critical hit into the Regidrago. Or how much damage is it doing to the Rillaboom? I'm even more curious about that one. Wicked Blow to the Regidrago. Enough for the knockout. It's now a one-on-one between this low 1 HP Urshifu with defense drops and the Rillaboom at full HP.
You know, I actually think there was one thing that Gio did kind of wrong in this matchup, and that is Terra early. Yeah, that close combat.
Not enough.
Even with a crit, I don't think it would have been enough by an inch. By an inch. I think this Rillaboom was just safe. Yeah, with a Terra Dark Wicked Blow, that may have done it, but instead, Everett Filloon takes the game and is moving on to our semifinals.
Wow, what a win from Everett there. Yeah, maybe the Terra was a little early from Gio, and I'm more so questioning why it hit the Whimsicott because...
Yeah, me too, actually. I thought that if you hit the Regidrago or Zamazenta, it would be just better in general to chip those down. Whimsicott couldn't do too much, but Whimsicott with Moonblast did the work. I mean, you hit me right on without the Terra for super effective damage. You hit the Urshifu for super effective damage. It's just a good offense Mon, even though it's completely decked out to be a support Pokemon.
Yeah, you can